not so sure this government shutdown's a bad thing. Now, hear me out. Liberals, listen. Have you noticed that we haven't heard anything about Trump's passing psychotic laws and taking your rights away? No, because the government shut down. They can't do anything. He can't break anything. What if we just don't? What if we just leave his shit shut off for like 3 more years? I get it. We're going to have to figure out how to fund SNAP and WIC and the other things. But I bet we can figure it out. What if we just leave that man hamstrung in his damn little White House, tweeting his little ass off and eating his French fries until he ships off to a golf course or a retirement home? We don't ever have to think of him again. I think we could do this for 3 more years. I really think we can. I'm here for it. Do I have to pay student loans? Can we not pay student loans? And then at a certain point, don't they start laying off IRS workers? Is it really that bad?
You know, this government shutdown is very sad. Like, it's the longest in history and it's very sad. And I know right now, you know, the mass media controls the world. So whatever they're talking about and whatever's trending is what we tend to focus on. But it's 1,000 times worse than that. I know right now we're just focusing on how sad it is for people that get food stamps to not get their stamps. And it looks like those are trickling in. Like that judge in Rhode Island was like, listen, you know, I'm not playing with y'all. This is what y'all gonna do. Kudos to him for stepping up. So that's awful, right? But those are just the food stamp recipients, right, that we're focusing on. Think about how deep this shit really go. Because think about how expensive it's been in this nation for the last couple of years, period. And right now it's just out of control. So think about all the working people, right, that never, you know, that were living paycheck to paycheck, that couldn't make ends meet as it is, but didn't qualify for food stamps. And now they're not getting a check. Those people are going hungry as well, right? Thus the food banks come in handy. Those people are going hungry as well, right? I remember before I had my life together, before I was financially literate, and I got this amazing career as a nurse, and I was working as an aide, and I was living check to check. I remember living check to check. And when it was time for that check to come, like, I would have it in my mind what I had to pay and what I had to do. And, oh, I just got $10 left. Just got to make it till Thursday. You know, barely had gas to get back and forth to work, but I was waiting on my Thursday. Now imagine if your Thursday come and go, then the next one come and go, and the next one, and you don't get your money. This shit runs deep and deeper than food. You know, people were relying on it at the beginning of the month to pay their mortgages. I heard people calling in on the radio. I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage. People that were trying to make a move to buy property or something to make their life better. And now they're going to have a late missed payment on their credit. Think about all the people that credit scores that they've been working years to build are about to drop 150 points because they ain't going to be able to make their car notes this month. You know, or pay their mortgage or pay their student loans or whatever it is that people have to pay. So we talking about credit scores going down. We talking about people potentially maybe losing their apartments or housing if they can't catch up, because Donald Trump is saying he might not even pay people back money. If I was already living paycheck to paycheck, my rent's $2,000. That was half of my check for, you know, 1 month. I'm a government worker. I get 2 checks a month, sometimes 3. How the hell am I going to catch up now to $4,000, $6,000? Like, you got to think this runs so much deeper. Like, so many people are affected. They said it's 1.4 million government workers going without checks. They laid off 700,000, 600,000, still got to go to work, but ain't getting paid. Okay, I don't got no money. How am I supposed to get gas to get back and forth to work, to the airport? TSA and other essential workers. You know, ruining people's lives. Like, when we said don't vote for this man, it really is sad that this man who's been rich and entitled his whole life really bamboozled poor people into thinking he was going to be fighting for them, and got y'all to really come out to the polls in droves and vote for this man. And now look, a lot of government workers before this were laid off. He shut down departments. He's saying now he might not give, people like nurses loan forgiveness. That might not happen now. I mean, and I've been a paycheck to paycheck person in my life. Like, I have been there. I have been in the struggle. I grew up in poverty. I have been there. So this shit's on my mind every day, and I'm not even going through it. But just knowing that this is happening to someone else in America is insane.
Well, not only is Trump defying a court order to pay out SNAP benefits, he's denying Congress. Congress is the one that put $5 billion into an emergency fund, a contingency fund for emergencies in this country, whether it's natural disasters or whether it's a government shutdown. Now he's filed an appeal in the First Circuit Court, which is could go between what the judge told him yesterday and the Supreme Court. What he's trying to do is prevent these SNAP benefits from being paid out. He's using these people and he's using the SNAP benefits as a bargaining tool. He's using these people's lives as leverage. This is not what a president is supposed to do. A president is supposed to watch out for his constituents, whether they voted for him or not. They are still his constituents. You understand that, don't you? MAGA doesn't seem to understand that. MAGA has been fighting back on this. DMs, stupid comments about how these people should have had a job and shouldn't have to work. These people are working 40 hours a week. Some of them are working 2 jobs and working 80 hours a week and still qualify for SNAP benefits. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's their employer. Maybe if their employer paid an actual living wage, not just minimum wage, these people wouldn't have to apply for SNAP benefits. Which part of that do you not get?
I have a big, ugly shutdown update for you. It's a little strange, so stick with me. Schumer just went on the Senate floor about an hour ago and said he and the Democratic caucus are prepared to do a continuing resolution with the Republicans, with the provision that a 1-year extension of the ACA tax subsidies is included in the package. They also are okay with having the 3-bill minibus for MilCon VA, legislative affairs, and agriculture included. So those are the permanent appropriations bills, 3 of the 12. So I'm a little bit confused about some of the details because Schumer and the rest of the Democrats are on the floor right now doing speeches saying that they could open the government today if the Republicans would agree to this. Now, I don't think I understand that because H.R. 5371 is likely going to be amended by the Republicans if it's voted on today with a different date. Remember, the current date is November 21st as the House passed it. That's in 2 weeks. There's literally no point in opening the government for 2 weeks just to have to do all of this again. So H.R. 5371, the continuing resolution, is going to have to be amended for at least the date as far as the Republicans are concerned, which means the House is going to have to come back and vote on it again if so. And then anything that's added to it would also have to wait for the House. So I'm not sure I understand this rhetoric behind we could open the government today. I guess what they mean is like we could be done with this today, like the Senate could wash their hands of it today. Maybe that's what they mean. Anyway, I called my senators and left messages because I couldn't really get a hold of their staff very easily and said I expect them to vote yes, only to something that actually has extensions to subsidies or something in the package. Now, my preference is that the ACA subsidies are extended way past a year, at least 2 years to get us past midterms. Certainly, I am irritated that doesn't include anything about the protections of the separation of powers from Rust vote and OMB. I'm also irritated that it does nothing about the big, beautiful bill healthcare cuts. However, I do understand that we have kind of a 5-alarm fire, and if these ACA subsidies are not extended, the increase in premiums, insurance premiums, is going to be locked in like a week or so. So I get the urgency that the Democrats are working with. I just wish that we weren't dealing with a hostage situation. I'll do my best to follow this as it unfolds later this evening and through the weekend, so stay tuned. In the meantime, keep calling.
It's been 38 days since the American government shut down and they haven't come up with a resolution to open this bitch back up yet. Nope. 38 days, no resolution. People going to work and not getting paid. Federal employees going to work and not getting their money. Multiple checks missed during the end of the year.
I just need to vent for a second. We are almost 40 days into this government shutdown, and the lack of coverage that I see happening of the people that are being impacted by this shutdown is appalling to me. Do not get me wrong. I am so happy that the courts have ruled that the administration needs to pay SNAP benefits to the thousands and thousands of Americans that need that. I am so happy about that. But do you know who else is wondering how they're going to put food on the table tomorrow, next week, the week after that? Thousands and thousands and thousands of federal workers. Thousands. They are your neighbors, your friends, maybe your family. These people have been showing up to work every single day and not getting paid for 5 weeks. And just because the government is shut down, their bills have not stopped. They still have to pay their mortgage. They still have to pay their heat bill. They still have to pay their electricity. And oh, by the way, they still need to put food on the table for their families or themselves. And I have not seen one federal employee outside of air traffic controllers be interviewed by the media about how this is impacting their lives. They don't talk about it. It's like they're the forgotten federal workers. I'm appalled. These people are your neighbors. And do you know the amount of people? My husband has worked for the federal government, a faithful employee for over 20 years. And do you know how many people have reached out to us to ask if we're okay? Maybe 2. Maybe 2. You know why? Because nobody's thinking about it. You know why? Because they're not covering it. I don't get it. Going on 40 days, it's impacting real people, real lives. When people can't pay their mortgage and they default on their mortgage, what happens? Their perfect credit score tanks. What happens when their credit score tanks? It impacts the rest of their lives for something that they have zero control over. If you have a friend who works for the federal government, please check on them. They are not okay. We are not okay. Do better, America.
Now on day 38 of the government shutdown, and let me catch some of you up for those of you who are not following what's going on right now. The healthcare industry is in the back pockets of a lot of our congressional members, whether the Republicans bow down to the Democrats or not. The Democrats are holding out for government subsidies that will not fix the manipulation, the exploitation that the health industry is capitalizing on right now. The Democrats are holding out for an extension of subsidies that will not fix healthcare premiums. If the Republicans decide not to bow down and they reopen the government, there's still a lot of hearings that need to happen on the fact that the healthcare industry is still raising these prices and exploiting the American people. Now, I want to talk about congressional pay because you have a small sector of congressional members right now, mostly Republicans, who are refusing their pay in solidarity of the federal workers who are not receiving pay. I want to express that only one Democrat, as far as I know, is refusing their pay. Every other Democrat, the ones who are voting no, are still accepting their pay. Now, Republican Senator John Kennedy just introduced 2 new bills that unfortunately cannot be implemented until the next cycle of elections due to the 27th Amendment, where Congress members can't change their pay within an election cycle. John Kennedy proposed 2 bills. The first bill is that as long as there's a government shutdown, Congress should not receive pay and they should not receive back pay. Second bill is where congressional members would put their pay in an escrow and receive their pay after the government has been reopened. Now, those 2 bills seem fair to me, but it doesn't seem like those would get passed. As I've said before, Congress at large are not refusing their pay. I want to say like it's 20 congressional members or less, and most of those members are Republicans. I want you to think about that the next time the Democrats come out and say that they're standing in solidarity with you. They say that, hey, we need you to go protest in the streets. We need you to boycott this. We need you to boycott that. Where is their solidarity in standing with the federal workers, standing with the people who are not receiving SNAP benefits, etc.? Where is their solidarity?
Good morning. Welcome to day 38 of the government shutdown. Happy Friday, you all. We came into this week very hopeful. Everyone did. Senators did. We did. And then the Tuesday elections happened. And for some reason, the far left lunatics decided, oh, this means that they like our shutdown strategy and we need to stay strong and keep the government shut down. Because no one has taught them that correlation doesn't mean causality. No one has taught them that these rigged elections that they have with people who no one was surprised that they didn't take a state that was red. Like, Virginia is a blue state. The fact that Youngkin was even governor. But anyway, they didn't take a state. And yet they're like momentum. Like, are you delusional? Anyway, they have voted 14 times to keep this government shut down. And now we are on day 38. And they're staying tight-lipped about their meeting yesterday. And all of a sudden, they're coming up with things that make zero sense with all of these other demands. While they've had 38 days to do this. And they're like, well, this is just the start of the end. The fuck? Dude, I really hope you all are paying attention to the senators in your states who are doing this, including Maryland and Virginia, because I sure am. And Maryland is not up for a seat next year, but Virginia is. Mark Warner is. And he can go himself. I wasn't here last election. I lived in Spain. I had to go through their election, which, whole other story. They have 5 parties. They're crazier than we are. They've lived through communism. That's for another story. But there is very little hope that they're going to do anything today. And the Democrats are holding this as like a badge of honor. They're like, we're going to get people what they want. The fuck? People want the government open. That's what they want. People want you to pass a clean CR so that you can go fuck around a different date and then get the government open. And I am truly hoping that the moderate Democrats today vote for the sake of their people. If they break party from Schumer and vote, I will have so much more respect for them. Sorry, I'm all amped up. Anyway, that is your update. They reconvene at noon. We are going to remain positive until that happens. But if these guys go home for a holiday and they vote no, scorched earth. Scorched earth. Stay tuned.
Don't let the Democrats tell you that this shutdown is about making healthcare affordable for you and me. This is about Democratic governors, their big blue states, and all of their sanctuary cities and the illegal immigration that they welcomed in. When they plan their budgets, they factor in the federal Medicaid supplement that they get from the federal government. They look at last year's budget and they say, okay, well, we spent XYZ dollars on emergency services, emergency room visits, hospital stays, childbirth, uninsured, for everybody. So we're going to take that number, we're going to pad it a little bit, we're going to add it to next year's number and the year after that, because the gravy train never ends from the taxpayers, but only it has now. Trump's big, beautiful bill cuts all of that Medicaid federal support from illegals entirely. That's going to leave a huge gap in their state budget. They wanted the illegal immigration, and now they have it. Only the federal government is not funding it for them. They're having an, oh shit, we're fucked kind of moment. Understand that illegal immigration helped them twofold. It helped them with the demographic and the census for more seats and redistricting, and it helped them pad their budget with money so that they can do their little pet projects and fill the gaps in other places and spend money recklessly. This is not about affordable health care for you and for me. It simply is not. It's about them losing billions and billions and billions of dollars and leaving a huge hole in their budget. And it's causing a crisis for them because the gravy train has ended. And their agenda just literally blew up in their faces. And remember that our military personnel are fighting for us every day and they're not getting paid. And our Homeland Security is not getting paid. And FAA is not getting paid. These are infrastructures that are so important to our national security and our safety. Poor people on the poverty line not getting SNAP benefits, not getting their EBT cards, not being able to eat. These are hardworking American families and families in need that are going without, heading right into the holidays. And the Democrats don't give a shit because they don't care about you and they don't care about me. They care about their agenda, their pet projects, their donors, and their fucking budgets. It's not about healthcare, not the way they want us to think it is.
Well, today is day 38 of the federal government shutdown. And just like we assumed, Democrats, led by Senator Chuck Schumer, are coming to the table, inferring that they're willing to start negotiations.
Therefore, we'd like to offer a simple proposal that would reopen the government and extend the ACA premium tax credits simultaneously.
Now, yesterday, as Donald Trump went through in the Oval Office with members of the pharmaceutical industry, and they discussed how he's working to lower healthcare costs and prescription costs. Democrats come back and say that if the Senate, led by John Thune, makes some sort of, I guess, exception by extending Obamacare by a year, that Democrats would be willing to sign the CR and get the government back into operation. Democrats are not trying to extend and care for the American people. If they did, they'd be worried about those that are on welfare, that can't eat right now, or are struggling to do so.